Oh, there we go. That's something. That's something hooked on here. Coming right through there. Yeah. Oh, looks like a little Bartram's bass. I don't know if he's big enough for a Georgia Bass Slam qualification, but first Bartram's bass of the year for me, assuming I land him. Either way. Yeah, oh, I bet he is. I think he is. Probably gets the 8-inch minimum. We'll have to measure him up and see here. All right, we've got a little Bartram's bass here. We got him measured, and he's actually about 10.5 inches, so he's plenty big for the Georgia Bass Slam. So let him go. We got my pictures, assuming it all worked out right. I think I've got my qualifying Bartram's bass, so that's a nice thing. A little guy here. I didn't know if I could get a hook in here or not. Felt that guy kind of nibbling at it and thought it was probably a sunfish. And didn't know if he'd have enough to get the hook, but he did. That's good. Ooh, little red breast. First of those I've caught this year. Cool. Fishing this afternoon with the new Rebel Ultra-Finesse Jig, which is brand new. I mean, just being released this week. That's what I caught both the Bartram's bass and the red breast on. I won't have much opportunity to fish at all this afternoon. I came out here to get some photos and have a pretty limited window, and made a few casts because I wanted to try to get a picture with the fish, which I'm glad that I did. But it's not going to be a very long fishing trip. But in the process, I'm glad that the first fish I caught was a 10.5-inch Bartram's bass. That'll give me the qualifying fish I need to get things started with this year's Georgia Bass Slam. What do we got here? Threw into that current, we're just letting it drift downstream a little bit in the current, and got something shaking on it. Got something, I don't know what we have. Feels like a bass of some kind. Oh yeah, that looks like a shoal bass. Oh yeah, pretty shoal bass. First shoal bass I've caught this year. Get that guy measured. See how long he is. Oh, that's a pretty little shoal bass. It's the same jig that I caught my first Bartram's bass on. The same kind of jig, not the exact same one. You get him measured and you let him go. All right, we'll let this guy go. He was about 11 inches, which fishing, I believe the minimum size here is 15 inches, which don't care about keeping them. But for the Georgia Bass Slam, the fish need to be legal size for the waters you're fishing. So I don't believe he'll qualify for the Bass Slam, but glad to have a shoal bass this year. I mentioned when I caught the Bartram's bass from the other stream, and again when I caught the shoal bass here just a little while ago, that I'm fishing with a new jig, the Rebel Ultra-Finesse Jig. So I want to tell you just a tiny bit about it. It's a brand new, as in being released this week. It's a really cool little finesse jig that's built on the keg head jig, which is kind of kind of shaped like a keg. That's where the name comes from. And that shape really allows it to kind of roll on the bottom. It helps it roll off rocks. It certainly doesn't keep it from getting any, but it makes it more snag resistant, and it also allows you to combine with the buoyancy of the live flex baits that these are all rigged with. It allows you to roll that bait up kind of Ned style. When you just jiggle it in place, that it just lifts the tail end of that bait and up to where the fish can really see it. And all of these new jigs, they've got a really nice little finesse style silicone skirt and are tied up in colors to match the trailers, and they come pre-rigged in little kits, and each of the kits includes 2 different live flex shapes pre-rigged on jigs, and then a spare of each of the shapes that are included in it. So you've got a backup if you ever lose one. Although you honestly don't lose these live flex baits very often because they're pretty tough. They tend to stay in place in the hook even when you catch a bunch of fish. But it's nice having that, whether you use it as a replacement on this or fish it on its own. It's nice having those spare baits, and they all have all of the different sets, the different colors. They all have a creek craw on one of the jigs, and then some of them, the other jig is matched with a catacrawler. So you've got kind of a little Ned style worm, or the little minnow, which you can imitate a little sculpin or some type of little minnow that's cruising along on the bottom, or you can swim it and have that tail action kicking. I was also thinking that with the Bartram's bass and with the shoal bass, those are probably the first fish of those species ever caught on these baits. I also caught a red breast yesterday, and there may have been some more of those caught because these have been tested quite a bit, but mostly in the Ozarks. Rebel Lures is based in Arkansas, and they've been tested a lot there. Some in Tennessee and Missouri, and kind of some mid-south types of areas. They put them to good use, so I'm sure they've caught some red breast and plenty of smallmouth and rock bass and Ozark bass, and a lot of different things. But the Bartrams, I'm almost certain nobody would have caught one of those before, and pretty good chance the shoal bass is the first ever. Won't last long because they'll be out there soon, but kind of fun having caught a couple fish on something that nobody else has before.